So let's do the refuge and bodhicitta, and it will help us to remember why we're here today, why we're doing this, why we're learning the Dharma and practicing the Dharma, for what purpose. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. And may they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. This ground, strewn with flowers and anointed with perfume, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and moon, visualized as a pure realm, is offered to the assembly of the Buddhas. May all beings be reborn in that perfectly pure realm. Tram Guru Ratna Mandala Putsamega Samudra Saparana Samaya Hum. According to the wishes of all sentient beings in their various intellectual capacities, please turn the wheel of Dharma of the lesser, greater, and common vehicles. Okay, thank you. So Olga, we put in the translation channel. 1 second.
Wait, please put here this account.
Which one, Olga? Okay. Olga. Okay. And okay, start. Why is it not so? It is to Russian. And we start. Okay. So today we will cover the last two sessions from Rinpoche, which is from the 4th of December and the 5th of December. And now he has come into the new part of the text, which is about the practice, the path. So we've finished with the view, and now we go to the path. And we have a lot of things here which may cause some confusions, but we will do it slowly, slowly. Okay. So let's start. Okay. And as always, the presentation that I have prepared, I will put it on the drive where the materials are so everyone can access it. So let's start then. So as I said, we have the 4th and the 5th of December, like the explanations of the Rinpoche's teaching. So Rinpoche started with the introduction to the Bodhisattva path, and this was from the teaching of the 4th of December. So we'll start with that one first, okay? Okay. And sorry. Now, here is like an overview of the paths. We have the non-Buddhist path, and Rinpoche mentioned that the non-Buddhist paths are either falling into eternalism or nihilism. And he did mention that there is no point in going into that because this is not something which can help us remove our negative emotions, or these paths do not serve as an antidote to our negative emotions. So that's why we don't focus so much on this. But we do want to focus on the Buddhist path. And the Buddhist path, they have three, like generally there are many, but the three, they categorize them as the three paths or the three yanas. We have the yana of the Shravaka, the Pratyeka Buddha, and the Bodhisattva. And again, we will focus on the Bodhisattva path because this is part of the Mahayana. Okay? Now, Rinpoche said that when we talk about the path, now we finished with the view, okay? The view is finished. Now we're talking about the path. So when we talk about the path, whatever action anybody does, or there's always somebody who's doing the action. And the Buddhism creates three categories of people or practitioners. And it's those who are the super intelligent, those who are the middle, and those who are lower. Okay? So these are the three type of practitioners that we have, and that's the Buddhism like categorizes. And this is the main reason why we have the three yanas. So when we talk about the path, we have these three yanas because it's following the three types of practitioners. But when we were looking at the view before, up to the previous chapter, when we're looking at the two truths and all of this, the view is not dependent on someone's capacity, okay? It doesn't depend on the person. You can't say that there's a reality or that there's a truth for the super intelligent and there's a different truth for the middle intelligent and there's a different truth for the lower type of person. It's not. There's one truth for everything, for everyone, for all of it, okay? So this is something that we need to clarify. So the truth, which is the view, we discover it, it's the same for everyone, but the path is not the same for everyone and depends on the type of person. So we discover the truth, but we need to traverse the path because this is what we have to do, and it's not the same for everyone. Okay? So that's why we have the three yanas, and the three yanas are according to the three different capacities of the practitioner. I hope that's clear. Okay? Now we go directly to the Mahayana, and we have this outline from the text, which is the section on the Bodhisattva approach. So this is the Mahayana path. It's the Bodhisattva approach. And Longchenpa has here like an outline with three sections. So we have the first one is the nature of the spiritual potential. Okay, we're going to see what this is. What is the method for arousing bodhicitta? So if someone has this spiritual potential, how does this person arouse bodhicitta? And then this person, how do they go through the path? According to the method. Okay, so what we will focus on is the first one, the nature of the spiritual potential. Okay, so the nature of the spiritual potential is our Buddha nature. And the question comes, do we have the potential to become Buddha? Yes or no? Yes, we have it because it's the Buddha nature. And if we did not have our Buddha nature, this potential, so sometimes it says potential, sometimes it says Buddha nature, these are the same thing, then we are wasting our time. There's no need to do all of this. We have this potential. Without it, we don't need to do any of these things. But because we have it, we do these things. Okay? And in the second part, the method for arousing bodhicitta, when we see that we have this potential, then we have a motivation to create bodhicitta. We have a motivation to generate bodhicitta, to cultivate it. And there's a way to how to do this, to develop it, to make it bigger, and to keep it going. And that's the method for arousing bodhicitta. This is the second section of this of this section. And the third part of this section is how to traverse the paths and the bhumis. And this is coming later. So what is this? This is our journey. So we start with the Buddha nature. We have it. it's confirmed, then since we have it, then we can say, oh yes, I can become Buddha. So we start to create a motivation to become Buddha, and then we go and do it, do what's required. Okay? So why does Buddha nature come first? And Rinpoche gave this example. He didn't give the example in the last teachings, but he gave an example from a previous teaching, which I remember. So he's talking about like Christian and Islamic views, for example, like they believe that you can go to heaven, yes, but you can never be equal to God. So what's the result of this? That you don't try to be equal to God because you know you cannot be equal to God. We can just do good deeds and go to heaven. Okay? But what is the Buddhism say? And it's very radical that you have Buddha nature right now. It's there. You can become fully enlightened. And what's the result of this knowledge? Is that you do the practice to become enlightened. So if you see the potential, it creates the potential is the Buddha nature. It creates a motivation in you. So you practice and then you come to the result. And that's why the Buddha nature comes first in this teaching in the path. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Let's go. Now it starts to get a little bit confusing. We know we have the second Dharma wheel of the non-characteristics. We know this. We learned about it. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. And we had a lot of teaching sessions talking about the two truths. And so we know that the form, whatever we see around us, is referring to the relative or the all-concealing truth. And the emptiness part is the ultimate truth. These two are together. So this one we know. We did many teaching sessions, many hours trying to understand this. And we came to the prasangika viewpoint of the two truths. Now, what does the third Dharma wheel of great distinction come along and say? Now it's going deeper into the form part. Okay, so the third Dharma wheel is focusing more on the emptiness is form part. So form is emptiness. Everything is emptiness was from the second wheel. Now the third Dharma wheel is giving more focus on the emptiness is form. So what the form part. And from the perspective of the third Dhamma wheel, form, that's from wisdom. So what if a wisdom mind sees whatever form it sees, is ultimate truth. And the Buddha nature is that which is the basis for this. And when the form, as us ordinary people are seeing, from our negative emotions, our ignorance, our obscurations, that's the relative truth. So now we have a little bit of a twist in what we have ultimate truth and relative truth in the third Dharma wheel. So all positive appearances mean whatever the wisdom mind sees are the luminosity of emptiness. We need to remember this terminology. So that's why we say Buddha nature, it's empty, it's luminous. This is what it means here when he says luminous. And it's the union of both. Okay, and we will see what this means slowly. If anyone has any questions, they can, interrupt me. Yes, Cien.
Effie, can you explain luminous?
Yes.
Yeah, I
The
didn't
luminous,
understand it.
yeah, the luminous part is what, for example, because from emptiness, form arises. And that's the luminous part. I can't go into more detail because I don't know a lot of detail how it's explained, but we can ask Rinpoche if that's okay. Okay, but just remember that the third Dharma wheel is go deeper into the form part. And from emptiness, we have appearances, pure appearances. And that's the absolute truth. But whatever appearances are from the negative mind, that's the relative truth. So we're focusing more on the appearances part, on the form part. Okay, we will repeat this again. Any other questions? So the appearance which comes from the reflection of the realization of emptiness, that is the form, this appearance is true, is stable, is unchangeable, and is the Buddha nature. And we will see these, like what type of person or practitioner realizes this. So it's the bodhisattvas on the first bhumi. So we will see this in later sessions, teaching sessions, because this is part of the third section of this outline, which is the path. Okay. So it's not only empty, but it's great clarity. Okay. Now, not all appearances are equal because it depends on the mind, right? It depends on the person who's looking, who's perceiving. So the appearances for wisdom, they're true, they're stable, unchangeable. It's the Buddha nature, and it's not all concealing truth, it's the absolute truth. And the appearances which are from negative emotions, for like us, well, I don't know about you guys, but for sure for me, it's fake, it's uncertain, it's not solid, it's the all-concealing truth, but it's temporary. So this is the good news. The good news is temporary. Now, Rinpoche mentioned a lot about Tathagata and Tathagata Garbha. These are not the same. So this is sometimes a confusion is coming up here. So the Tathagata and the Tathagata Gata, they're not the same, but they are the same in a sense. We'll explain what that means. So the Tathagata Garbha is the Buddha nature, the Buddha essence. Tathagata, Buddha nature, Sugata Garbha, Tathagata Garbha, Sugata Garbha, all of that is the same kind of thing for the Buddha essence. The potential, the spiritual potential, all of these are the same things for Buddha essence. So the Buddha essence is with temporary negative emotions. We have it now, and it's the essence of the blissfully gone, Sugata Garbha. What is the Tathagata? It's the Buddha, the blissfully gone. It's free from negative emotions. It's full of enlightenment. It's full enlightenment, and it's the blissfully gone. This is the difference. So we do have Buddha essence, but we are not Buddhas yet. We have it, but we are not there yet. Not yet. Okay? Why? Because it's covered. We don't see it. We don't have contact with it. Is that clear? Okay. And Rinpoche mentioned in the teaching before that there are some misunderstandings that take place. And some Dzogchen practitioners, they say, oh, I am Buddha. I have the Buddha nature, so that means I'm Buddha. No, it doesn't mean that. Rinpoche says you have two hands, but you are not two hands, right? You have the Buddha nature, but you are not Buddha yet. In the future, for sure, 100%. So if you keep saying that I am Buddha, if you think like that, it's kind of like a full of ego statement. So if you're full of ego, then you will not listen to the teachers. And if you don't take care of your emotion and your health, because if you think you're Buddha already, then you're not going to do anything, then you will still be experiencing suffering. This is what Rinpoche said before. So just because you have the potential, that doesn't mean you're Buddha, you have the result. So having the potential doesn't mean you have the result. The result is Buddhahood. We don't have the result yet, okay? And I'm saying yet because it will happen. 100% it will happen. If it happens in this lifetime or after 3 immensely long eons, we don't know. It's up to us. And here's an example of the sun and the clouds. So if we have the sun as the Buddha nature, and the clouds are the afflictive emotions. So on the left-hand side is the fully stained Buddha nature. You don't see the sun really. But during the path and the practice and all of this, you remove the clouds, you remove the stains. And at the end, you have the stain-free state, which is Buddhahood. So Buddha nature, Buddhahood. It's there, but we don't see it. So we're not Buddha yet. But once everything is cleared away, we become the Buddha and it's there. Okay? Any questions? Because now we're going to get into more detail. So Tathagata Garbha is temporary negative emotions are covering the Buddha nature. So this is Buddhism. Tathagata is it's free of negative emotions. Okay? Now, that's from the 4th of December teaching. Any questions? Okay, so now we will go into the actual Buddha nature. There's so many teachings on the Buddha nature and there's so much detail and wow, it's amazing. Okay, so this is the nature now of the spiritual potential. And this has 4 parts. This is from the Longchen outline. So we have the nature of the spiritual potential, which is the Buddha nature, the omnipresence, a detailed analysis, and the rationale for relying on the spiritual potential. But we will just look at number 1, the nature of the spiritual potential. This is what Rinpoche has covered so far, and is still covering. So Rinpoche said that this quote from the Uttara Tantra Shastra, which is the highest continuum in the book, and Gyu Lama in Tibetan, he said we need to remember this. We need to remember this. It's important that we remember this. And it said, there is nothing whatsoever to remove from this, nor anything in the slightest to add. Look truly to what is true in itself. If what is true is seen, there is total freedom. So it's talking about the Buddha nature, of course. There's nothing to remove from the Buddha nature, and there's nothing to add to the Buddha nature, right? The only thing that we need to remove is the emotions, the afflictive emotions. But they're not part of the Buddha nature. They're just covering it. It's like a layer. This nature, there's nothing to remove. It's complete, already complete. There's nothing to add to it. It's exactly how it exists. If you're able to look at the way it is, if you're able to see that, exactly how the Buddha nature is, this is liberation. This was what makes you liberated. That's the total freedom. If we are looking at the true nature, to free our minds from negative emotions, that's the purpose. That's the whole point in doing this. So the whole purpose of the Buddhist path is not to add stuff, it's to remove stuff. Okay? Any questions? Looking at the Buddha nature, this is very important. Just as it is liberation. That's it. And once Rinpoche said it, or, this is the text, it's so close, it's like your eyelashes. You can't see them. That's how close it is. Okay. And what does this mean, this Uttara Tantra Shastra quote? And in the book, Longchen says, essentially, basic space the heart essence of being, this is the Buddha nature again, so he's using different ways of saying it, has never had any distortions to be removed because it is by nature utterly lucid without distortions. Remember, Rinpoche kept saying it's just the layers that we remove, which covering it, okay? The qualities of enlightenment are spontaneously present. And so it is not that these qualities never existed previously and are as attained as something new. So what this means is that we're doing the practices, so many Buddhist practices. We become better and better. We remove afflictive emotions. And suddenly, the Buddha qualities appear. But they were always there. It's not because we did the practices that we created Buddha qualities. They were always there. And this is very important to understand because it will come later about the Buddha nature being empty or not empty. And this is a big point of discussion and confusion as well. Remember this, the qualities have always been there. They are not created because we do the practice. They are appearing because we do the practice. Okay? So once one has perceived it, one is free of the adventitious distortions of afflictive states. Okay. So we need to see this Buddha nature. It's important. So what does it mean? In essence, there's nothing to remove from the Buddha nature. It's perfect just as it is. On the layer, we have the emotions to remove, the obscurations, the afflictive emotions, all the dirt that is covering the Buddha nature. And there are no qualities to add to it because it is spontaneously complete. This is what it means by spontaneously complete. And just see it as it is. Just seeing it as it is liberation. So this is pretty simple, isn't it? If you think about it. It's how to do it is the question. So we have like the view according to the new Buddha nature topic. So what is the perfect view according to the Buddha nature topic? The perfect view. It's the realization of the Buddha nature itself, which cuts the negative emotions. Okay? That's it. Realizing the Buddha nature, everything is cut. Everything. Isn't that marvelous? So when all the layers are removed, then Rinpoche said whether we call it body, which in Tibetan is called Jangchup, we call it body, Jangchup. When all the layers are removed, it's not Buddha essence anymore or body essence. We call it Tathagata. It's called Tathagata when all the layers are removed, and not Tathagata Garbha anymore. Before we called it Tathagata Garbha. When the layers are removed, it's called Tathagata. Or it's called Buddha when all the layers are removed, and not Buddha nature. So before we call it Buddha nature, afterwards, when all the layers are removed, it's Buddha. Same thing, but in one case it's covered, and in the other case it's not covered. It's okay? So this is an important quote from the book, which Rinpoche said we need to really understand. Enlightenment can be described as the state in which previously existent qualities, not newly created ones, have become fully evident. So the qualities, like I said, do not come magically all of a sudden. Oh, I created these new wonderful qualities because we were doing the path and the practice. No, they were there already. We just make them appear. The qualities are not new, they appear. Any question? This is very important. We need that to know because again, it's talking about the Buddha nature with respect to emptiness. Emptiness of this, not empty of that. And we'll see exactly. So any questions up to this point? Okay. Haha. Now let's look at the emptiness part. And just in case we were not confused enough, here we have another definition of emptiness to make us more confused. Okay, it's not really confusing. So when we're talking about emptiness in the second Dharma wheel, it's kind of like it was discussed in teachings like the Heart Sutra and, the Prajna Paramita Sutras. So all the Prajna Paramita Sutras were discussing the emptiness. And form is empty, which means form is empty of some inherent existence. This one we understood from before. Everything is interdependent, so we understand this as well. And to prove this, we use the 5 logics of Madhyamaka. Okay, so this one we did all the full second year teachings on this on third year teachings on this. I don't know. No, second year. And it was the previous chapter of the book, and it was the emptiness, form is emptiness, and all that. So we this one we did it. Okay. Now, when we come to what does emptiness mean according to the third Dharma wheel, and this is like these are the texts on the Buddha nature, like the Uttaratanta Shastra, for example. So the third Dharma wheel is talking about the Buddha nature. Yes, it's empty of negative emotions, actions, appearance, but it's not empty of wisdom and wisdom actions and appearances and the qualities, the Buddha qualities. So this is important to know. So this is different type of emptiness that what we learned from before. So the Buddha nature is empty of negative emotions. Okay. But sometimes they say that Buddha nature is not empty. Yes, it can be empty and it can be not empty, right? Empty from negative emotions, but not empty from the Buddha qualities. And these are the qualities that have already been there since beginningless time. Is it clear? When they say Buddha nature is empty and not empty, what does it mean? It's empty of all the negative emotions, obscurations, blah, blah, blah. But it's not empty of all the qualities, which are the Buddha qualities that have been there from beginningless time. Is it clear? Okay. Now we have the 2 types of schools which kind of create a debate upon this. So we have the Rang Tong versus the Shen Tong. And this is one discussion we had from previously. Now this is where it applies. So the Rang Tong, Rang means self and Tong means empty. So the Rang Tong school of thought is like empty of self. And usually the Gelugpa and Shakyapa schools are following this logic, that everything is empty with respect to by the 5 logics that we learned. So everything is empty can be proven by the 5 logics. And the Buddha nature is also empty. Okay, this is what they believe. Full stop, that's it, finish. But the Shen Tong, which is meaning, Shen means other, Tong means emptiness. And Shen Tong is like the empty of other. Okay. And it says that this is founded by Dolpopa, one great master from Rinpoche's village. The Kagyu and the Nyingma schools are following this this type of thought. And they say, yes, it is empty of afflictions, but it's not empty of the wisdom qualities, the Buddha qualities. So Buddha nature is not empty of its nature's qualities, just like the sun is inseparable from its rays and are of one essence. So it's like together. And this is the picture again. So you see that the clouds are the other qualities. It's empty of that. That's why they can be removed. But the rays here are the Buddha qualities, and these are together. They cannot be separated. Any questions for that?
Yes, I have
Yeah.
a question. Could we speak
yeah.
about the 5 logics?
Yes, can we do it towards the end if we have time?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Cien?
Effie, I don't really understand empty of self and empty of other.
Okay.
Empty of self, is that from ego, your ego?
No, here we're talking about the Buddha nature. So everything is empty, right? According to the second Dharma wheel, everything is empty. So that means empty of self. They're like selfless. Okay? This is what it means. So everything is empty, like the table, like the chair, like we are, like everything. And they say the Buddha nature is also empty. Full stop. That's it. No more. That's the empty of self. Like everything is empty. Everyone is agreeing that form is emptiness. Okay? But when the Buddha nature, the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, talks about Buddha nature, then the Kagyupa and Nyingma schools, Nyingma paths, they say, yes, it's empty. The Buddha nature, yes, it's empty, but it depends. If it's empty of obscurations, yes. It's empty of afflictive emotions, yes. But it's not empty of the wisdom qualities that were always there from beginning as time. So that's the difference. Okay? Remember in the previous chapter, the Prasangika says everything is empty, full stop. Now the Buddha nature, yes, it's empty, but not of the qualities, of the Buddha qualities. Any questions? So the Uttara Tantra Shastra says that whatever the Buddha nature is empty of, which are the afflictive emotions, the obscurations, and all of that, it can be removed. Okay? And that's good news. Remember in the text it says, Longchen says something about being devoid of this, devoid of that. That's what it means, empty of this, but not empty of that. Okay? Okay. Okay, so what are the three qualities of the Buddha nature according to the Nyingmapa? Its essence is emptiness. Yes, because it's empty of the negative afflictions. So it does satisfy these five logics of the Madhyamika. The nature is clarity, which means the negativities are not present as part of it. Only the positives are present. And this means that it's not empty of the Buddha qualities and the union of truth. So this means inseparability of emptiness and clarity, and that's the complete Buddha nature. It's a very, very, very large topic. And then Rinpoche was talking about the Buddha nature's relationship to samsaric things and nirvana things. So the Buddha's nature relationship to samsara, it said, like before it said that on the essence level, Buddha nature is free from negative emotions and samsaric things. But now it says that the samsaric things exist. So what does that mean? Why are they saying it's free and then it exists? This is how it's explained. So just like the sun is to the clouds. So if the sun is the Buddha nature, the clouds are the samsaric things. We know that the clouds are not part of the sun, and that's why it says that the Buddha nature is free from negative emotions, but the clouds cover the sun. And that's why it's saying that, the Buddha nature is covered by negative emotions. It's, it exists there, but it's not part of it. I remember in like two previous sessions, somebody asked, is it like mixed? It's not mixed. It's just covering it. Okay. So how it appears, so if you go look at the sky on a cloudy day, how it appears, it's not how it exists. The sun is there behind it, but it doesn't appear. The clouds obscure the sun, they cover the sun, but they don't change the sun. And the clouds are temporary. We see it every day. If it's cloudy, we see it. They come and go, come and go. They're not there. They can be removed. So that's Buddha nature's relationship to samsara, the samsaric things. Okay. Now, what's Buddha's nature's relationship to nirvana? It's like the qualities, the Buddha qualities. So it's like sun to its rays. They might appear like two things, but it's one in essence. And they're inseparable. They are never, ever apart. And that's why they say that the Buddha nature is not empty of wisdom qualities. That's it. Because it's together. So the samsara is the layer that covers the Buddha nature, and the nirvana is the essence. Okay. Any questions so far? Because I know this can be quite confusing with all the emptiness and the appearance and the blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's go to this thing again now. So the appearance, emptiness, and the appearance and abiding appearance. This is what Rinpoche said. This is a little bit confusing. Now, when we talked about in the Madhyamika chapter, we have the two truths of appearance and emptiness. And this is the Prasangika true truths that we learned in the last chapter. This doesn't change. This is true. This is valid. That's it. Put that aside for now. So we keep that. We don't change it. We keep it. Now we come to a different thing. And we have the two truths of appearance and abiding appearance. What does this mean? Again, this is before when we said the third Dharma wheel is more focusing on the form, okay? This means how something exists versus how it appears. And Rinpoche said, and this is a little bit difficult to understand, Rinpoche the first time, but if you read it again and again, it's fine. Rinpoche said, if something appears as it exists, then that's the ultimate truth, according to this part, the Buddha nature part. And if something appears differently from how it exists, that's the relative truth. So here we have ultimate truth and relative truth from the perspective of the third Dharma wheel. The second Dharma wheel, relative truth and ultimate truth, whatever we learned there, it still exists, it still applies, it's there, we don't change it. Now, this is from the perspective of the third Dharma wheel. If something appears as it exists, it's ultimate truth. If something appears differently from how it exists, it's relative truth. That's it. And ultimate truth again can be seen by the wisdom, the Buddha's wisdom. So the Buddha's wisdom sees things as they appear, as they exist, the same. But we, which don't have the Buddha wisdom yet, we see things appear differently from how they exist. Okay? So ultimate truth and relative truth definitions according to the third Dharma wheel. Whatever we learned from the second Dharma wheel, it's still there. It doesn't change. This is something else. Any questions? So this is something. So Rinpoche says, whichever appearance comes from wisdom. When we reach the level of Buddha, we will have this appearance, this ultimate truth. Until then, we would just see the relative truth as normal. Okay? conclusions. So, having the Buddha nature is not the same as being a Buddha. Yes, we have the Buddha nature. Doesn't mean we're Buddha yet. That's important. Okay? Tathagata Garbha versus Tathagata. Sugata Garbha versus Sugata. Buddha nature versus Buddha. Body essence versus body. It's all the same thing. Okay? And then nothing to remove in essence. The Buddha nature is complete, perfect as it is. So we don't have anything to remove. Just the negative emotions which are on the layer. Remember, it's not part of the Buddha nature, but it's on the layer. It is spontaneously present means that it has the inseparable qualities. Inseparable qualities is the Buddha qualities. It's the Buddha qualities were there since beginningless time. That's it. They were there. They will always be there. They are there now. We don't see them because we cover it up. Once we clear the clouds, then we will see it. That's it. They will come into being. They will arise. They're not created as something that's newly created. They just appear. And then the two types of emptiness. During the second Dharma wheel, we had the emptiness of inherent existence. That form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Everything is empty of inherent existence. But in the third Dhamma wheel, the concept of emptiness changes, empty of afflictions, but not empty of wisdom qualities. This is the difference. And the Buddha nature essence is empty, its nature is clear, and the union of both. And why are we learning so many philosophical things? It's to help us bring us to liberation. If we can understand a little bit of what's going on here, then it'll help us to bring to liberations. And it's not just for intellectual games, if you like. That's it. Any questions? No. I know it's not, it needs a little bit of study. The text is a little bit difficult. Hang on a second. Olga needs to be removed from the channel. 1 second. How do I remove you from the channel, Olga? Ah, yeah. 1 moment. Let me go into the channel. Hi, Olga. I can hear you now. Shall I stop the channel? Okay, Olga, can you say something? Oh, okay, now we can hear you. Okay, so yes. Mhm. That doesn't change. Yeah, it does. We accept this completely. It doesn't change anything. Okay. Form is emptiness, but here in the third Dharma wheel, because the third Dharma wheel talking about the Buddha nature, it's talking about the emptiness with respect to the Buddha nature, if you want to translate that. Okay. We know that we did a whole year of teaching on this. We did the ultimate truth and what does ultimate truth mean and what does relative truth mean? This is still correct. That everything is empty of inherent existence. You can translate. Okay, that still applies. And then since everything is empty, everything, and the Prasangika say that everything is empty, full stop. What happens with the Buddha? Yeah. So what happens with the Buddha nature? Is that also empty? Is the question. So translate it. And the Gelugpa school, yeah, and the Gelugpa schools and the Sakya schools, yes. And the Buddha nature is empty. Full stop. That's it. But the Nyingmapa schools and the Kagyupa schools, yes, they say the Buddha nature is empty also. But what? From what? It's empty of all the dirt, all the obscurations, all the afflictive emotions, yes. But it's not empty of the Buddha qualities. No, no, no. This is the problem when we did the Madhyamika teaching. Remember, we had the Svatantrika Madhyamika and the Prasangika Madhyamika. Remember, you can translate. And what was the difference between the Svatyantika, Madhyamika, and the Prasangika is that the Svatyantika were too afraid to go complete emptiness because they were afraid of nihilism. But the Prasangika, no. They said everything is empty. It doesn't mean it's nihilism. That's it. Does it answer your question? Okay. Any other question? Yeah, this is the teaching for next year. Yeah, yeah. This is teaching for next year. I can't answer this. Okay. It's for the Vajrayana section of the course of the year 4. I don't know. Yeah. Yes, it's from emptiness, everything arises. So, because it's empty, it's possible to create it. That's the general idea. Okay. Any other question from here? Eva, sorry, about the five logics. I don't know if I can cover that now, but I can send you the notes from the teaching if you wish, and I can put them on the shared drive if you want. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, because it's too much now. It's a big, yeah. It's a big, big, big topic. Okay. Any other question? Uh, this is a very, very, very important topic. Very important topic. And it's good to have it. It's good to understand it. Yeah. No, the Buddha nature. Of course, the five logic as well. Okay. Um, why are we coming here to do Buddhist teaching and practice? The foundation of this is the Buddha nature. And that's why it's important. And if you remember from other teachings, like non-draw teachings, we have like the precious human life. That's our support. So the Buddha nature is the foundation, and the precious human life is the support. But it's not the only support. Having a spiritual friend or lama or teacher is also the support. And also being able to follow their advice is also the support. So having the foundation of the Buddha nature and having the three supports of the precious human life, the teacher, the Dharma, the following the instruction, is what brings us to Buddhahood. And the most subtle dimension of our realm of experience or our own mind is the Buddha nature. The most subtle dimension of the realm of our experiences, our mind, it's the Buddha nature, whether we see it or not. And this is like the pure awareness. In the book, it's using different things, the pure awareness, the blah, blah, blah. It's the Buddha nature. It's all the Buddha nature. And it's, since beginning of this time, like all the lamas say, we have been obscuring it and obscuring it and obscuring it. So Rinpoche says that if we're able to realize the true nature, of the ultimate truth, then it has the power to destroy all these temporary obscurations. And if we don't realize it, then things will just continue with fear, confusion, emotions, again and again and again. And that's why we're learning all of these things. We're learning what it is, the Buddha nature, what because if we don't know what it is, how we're going to bring it out. And how do we bring it out? With the methods and, to use the methods that we learn, to use them correctly, and that will reveal the Buddha nature. And that's the chapter, this chapter is the path. And that's why it's the foundation. Because if we learn about the path and the practices and all that without learning about the Buddha nature, it's like we won't believe that we can become Buddha. We have the potential of the Buddha. So it's good news. Okay. It is, isn't it? It's good news. It's like if we didn't have the Buddha nature, another example they use is like you get a lump of coal and you wash it and wash it and wash it, and you think the black will become white. If we didn't have the Buddha nature, if we didn't have it, a lump, like a lump of coal, the coal, the carbon, this black thing that you use for barbecue, the coal.
Google.
Wash, 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 wash. It's never going to become white. Okay, that's it. Any questions? I think it's good. I think it's good news. These kind of teachings make me happy. Okay. Shall we do the dedication then? Don't forget to do the dedication. Oh. So by this merit may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may all beings be free, be set free. O precious and sublime bodhicitta, may it arise in those in whom it has not arisen, may it never decline where it has arisen, but go on increasing further and further. By the power, Om Swaste, by the power of the three jewels and the three roots, may the lifespan of supreme emanation Ojin Choing Yeshe be long and firm. May he achieve the highest Dharma, Vajra wisdom, and accomplish the great actions for the Dharma and all sentient beings. Okay, so I think the next session is in January. Is it 8th of January or something like that? So see you then and have a happy, wonderful new year. Uh,
Thank you.
and Take care. And you have my WhatsApp. If any questions, you can feel free to ask me anything you want. And I will send the 5 logics. Let us- Okay. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you. Have a wonderful New Year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice time.